Hello, my name is Bill Haley with Haley2024 the Movement, Government Reform Ideas. Now, this video is going to be on competitive governments only governing their members. So this is the base of all my reforms is competitive governance. It takes welfare to charity. It takes government-controlled roads to private roads. It goes to competitive money. Everything goes to competitive governance, which is in a large part free enterprise. And the way this works is competitive governments only govern their members. So let's go through this a little bit and we'll look at the structure. So you see 30 structures, 30 sector boards over different areas of the economy, and I'll discuss those 30 in a minute, but healthcare is in one, finance is in another, education is in another, police is in another, that kind of thing. We'll get to all 30. At the sector board level, right here, and the rating system is over here, which is the equivalent of the sector board in the rating system. Now, the sector boards, they control monopoly. They monopolize over everybody. That's just to stop significant negative externalities. Not very common. Only in very few sectors will that be common. Everything else is going to be competitive governance. And even when the sector board has governing power, they have to govern through the administration of the CRAs, the competitive governances. So you pick which governing agency you want to pick based off of your philosophy of how you want to be governed. You want to be governed in a more libertarian way, more conservative way, more Republican without being conservative, more liberty-minded, more libertarian-minded. On the Democrat side, do you agree with the Heritage Foundation on the conservative side, or the Brookings Institute on the liberal side? Or do you agree with going even farther, socialist, Democratic Socialist of America and the like? A lot of different ways to be governed out there. You get to pick yours. And then they only govern you. If there's 12 of them out there that I get to pick one from, only one governs me. The other ones are irrelevant to me. Unless they can get 70%, convince the court that it's a significant negative externality, what we're doing in mine, and the one I pick, if it's a significant negative externality, they convince the court, and it's and you get a 70% vote, then they can stop us from doing what we're doing in our competitive regulatory agency, our CRAs, our competitive governances. So they only govern you. So as long as you're not creating significant negative externalities, your people, the group that you chose, the competitive governance that you chose, they govern you in your area, in that sector of the economy, that sector of governance. So let's go through it a little bit more. The same thing is going to happen on the rating system side. Your rating agency, you only manage with your rating agencies. Now the rating agency will go up to a sector board level, which is the rating system level on the rating system, and they will stop significant negative externalities as well by limiting standards so low that you are actually creating problems for other people. So let's go through this. A CRA is made up of citizens and businesses. That's basically what's going on there. I'm sorry, my phone got distracted me. Anyway. So the CRAs only govern their members, citizens and businesses. Other organizations, however do they want to be situated. Now, the CRA, your identity CRA, will determine what type of governances are out there within the corporations and the like, businesses. There's a lot of different type of businesses, self-proprietor and limited liability corporations and corporations that are public, a whole bunch of ones. Each CRA gets to decide those, and then you decide which one you are based off those benefits and the detriments and the taxes and the regulations. If you don't like how yours is being done, you move to a different one, different CRA, and they might be able to do it better. Now, all you have to do is gather with 5% of like-minded people to have your governance. Then they govern you. Now, they have to govern you to make sure you're not creating negative externalities. Let's say, for example, family law. they actually have to do family law. They have to have rules regarding divorce, what happens with children in a divorce. All those things have to be done because it creates a negative externality to not do those things. You have to have rules surrounding the environment because if you pollute too much, you are causing negative externalities, significant negative externalities to the broader public. So you can't do that. You can't harm other people's liberty. So that's part of what's going on there. So let's go through each of the categories, but they're made up of members. Let's go through some of these real quick. CRA governs strictly within its sector. So if you're in the police, they only do police. They don't do the prison. If you're with education, they don't do the environment. They have environmental sector for that. If you're in if you're a diplomat, you're not doing land and water because unless it's land and water disputed by other foreign powers in foreign countries. So, but if it's roads, you're dealing only with roads or transportation. So they only govern within a sector. Every citizen, business, and organization, and whatever type of organization you want to create, or have to be there. And your CRA creates it. Your identity sector CRA. That's one of the one of the sectors. So you had to become a member of a CRA in every sector. So if you don't want a lot of hassle, just do one that's more libertarian. It has problems doing that as well. You don't get the benefits. But there's detriments. There's good ways to do regulations, bad ways to do regulations. That's why there's a 12. So there's competition for consumers of those regulatory services. So I said, just join 5% of your city. This is at the city level, federal level, and state level. Just 5%, all you need. So it's not a big one. And if you get two that are somewhat similar and they can only get 3% each, they join together, and to the largest degree possible, they let those 3% just govern those 3% and put those putting two together. So that can happen. There's some complications in that. There's a reason why we do 5%. We just don't want so many that it's not becoming known. They don't have that scale to really do big things that need to be done. Okay, members of a CRA vote on the legislative, executive, and judicial leaders of their CRA, and they send representatives up to the sector board level, to the monopolized sector board level, and the parent sector board too. All organizations within the structure to keep the structure nice and sound. Okay, let's go through some of the sectors. We get rid of all welfare, we go to a charity system, and so you are doing that. Okay, only governing members. I forgot what subject we were on. So when you are helping the poor, you are only helping the poor within your membership or your say on how to help. Well, that gets a little complicated. Charity can help anybody they want to, regardless of CRA status. But the people who are controlling that CRA, the charity CRA, are the members of that CRA. They vote on the leadership and the legislative branch and the executive leadership and the whole 9 yards. So they make the rules regarding that charity and the set of charities that they're going to support. Same thing with the Charitable Distribution Association, the funding mechanism. The assessor organizations, that's the caseworkers, that's going to be the most important part of being a member because they have subjective determination, which is the most valuable part of helping the poor. Family law and religion are all important. And then foreign protection system, highly important to have that separation. Now, they're not going to just govern their members because the diplomats, they are making law for all of it. This is more at the sector level, sector board level, not the CRA level. So that gets a little bit complicated. There's like 5 or 6 sectors that have predominant control at the sector board level, not at the competitive level, because we need to speak with one voice. But the CRAs, the competitive governance, is going to be, the hierarchy is going to be important. People are going to be coming, the CRAs staff the sector board. They vote people in, or they provide, proportionally, they provide the staff for what the diplomats need. Same thing with the commander-in-chief. The competitive governances are important, but it's ultimately top down on commander level, but they work through the CRAs, the competitive governances. And since everybody's coming from competitive governances, they're going to keep that somewhat strong, but there has to be a top guy on commander-in-chief. The military corporation, there's a lot there. I'm not going to get into that, but CRAs will regulate the military corporations that choose to go with them. And look at more of that. I don't have time on this video to get into that. Military capability system, again, top down, sector board level, because they need to determine how to fund the military. There's a system. Look at that. You fund military corporations based on the military capabilities, supply of military capabilities to America. So a lot of words there, but look at the actual wording within those videos or on my write-up on my webpage. Military authorization agencies, that's going to be important too, but it's top down. That's sector board, monopolized, but it's made up, again, of the competitive governances. So it's important. Now, law enforcement, do they only govern their own? Well, police are going to have the ability and the requirement to help anybody in immediate danger, but then your police contract, your competitive governance within the police or your private police will do the investigation. They will have a duty to help anybody with an immediate need, but then as quickly and within regulations as they can go into the your police business, your CRA for law enforcement will do the investigation and take it from when they can take it. With taken out of once it's out of immediate need, immediate danger. So the prosecutors will prosecute for their members. It doesn't matter if the perpetrator is a member of them or not, because they are protecting their members. They're prosecuting on behalf of their members. So if somebody harms, let's say beats somebody up unjustifiably, obviously there's rules around that, but beat somebody up, then the prosecutor of the person who got beat up prosecutes the person regardless of where they came from. Now, their judicial authority sector will supply the public defender if needed, or be involved in that regulation of the defenders, defense counsel. The court system, we got there again, LEA, the authorization for the anybody that holds a badge within law enforcement, within the prisons, within the court system. Anybody that has inherent government authority needs to get that badge from societal oversight role. And that is sector board level. That's monopolized sector board level. But again, competitive governance is going to be playing a big role. Prison and corrections, again, I'm not sure exactly. It's I have it within the structure, but it doesn't necessarily, you're going to just govern the prisoners that were your members that need to be arrested or sentenced to go to prison. So there's some play in there. I have a system. Look at that. It's not exactly you're only going to go with the prison CRA that you were the member of because you hurt somebody else. The system has a way of putting you somewhere, and it might be your prison and correction CRA if they have good enough ratings and they are doing the proper things to give proper punishment. But it's not just punishment; it's a whole list of things. What you want a prisoner, somebody who broke the law, somebody who was sentenced to have to compensate the victim in the whole 9 yards there. There's a lot there. Okay. Your healthcare, now this is mainly for healthcare and banking. This is mainly for the businesses that's doing healthcare, not necessarily the consumer. Every healthcare business, a doctor's office, a hospital, a medical supply company, They are all within healthcare. They need to be regulated. They are only regulated by the CRA that they choose, the healthcare CRA they choose. One's for medicine, pharmaceuticals, and medical supplies, and then the other, everything else in the Sector 17 that you see there. Banking, the same thing. You have banking and then non-banking. The banking one does currencies and regulates the banks. Again, the banking CRA only governs its members. The member bank, once it chooses their banking regulator, they don't have to worry about anybody else's. They have theirs covered. Now, they have to meet certain standards or get above a certain ratings for quality banking standards and stuff. Now, there's a lot of ways to get above a standard, so it's not a set of regulations that you have to do this, this, and this. You just have to get above a rating level, and that's significantly better than a set of regulations. So now some things you can do in banking that is going to take you so far down the ratings level that no bank's going to want to do it, because it's just not good banking principles. Plus, you're going to ruin you're going to ruin your chances of getting any customers if you do that. Again, food processing businesses, anybody who works on a farm or and the like, anybody dealing with the food, they only have to worry about their sector. They don't have to worry about anybody else's sector. They only have to worry about their competitive government. They don't have to worry about the other 11 that they're not a member of. So whether you're allowed to do raw milk or not do raw milk, how do you do a restaurant for food safety and all that stuff? You only have to, a food safety regulating board or organization, food safety government, for that restaurant, they only choose one. Now, if they all go with the low standard one, it's posted right on their door. Nobody's going to want to go into a restaurant that has a, let's say, a 60. Between 100 being the best, 0 being the worst, 50 being, you can't go below 50 because you're getting people sick. So 60 is going to be kind of low, 55, nobody wants to go there anyway because your standards are just too low. Now 90, that's going to be a 5-star restaurant, have the best standards. But a lot of people can't afford to have that high standard. Even on food safety, they're willing to have a little bit less to be a little bit more affordable. They want still good food safety, and so they don't want to go down too low. But with wealth comes people's willingness to go higher food safety standards. Insurance, same thing. An insurance company only has to deal with theirs. Now, between banking and insurance and a lot of these different financial contracts and stuff, if you only give if the business is so, all the regulations are so skewed towards the business side always winning a set of regulations and the customer never winning a dispute, the customers aren't going to want that. That's going to reflect in very low ratings for you. Again, if you always have the regulations favoring the customer, the bank, the insurance company is not going to be able to make that money. It's going to force it in the middle. And that ratings of about 70, 75, 80, that's going to be probably the sweet spot where people need to be. Again, I'm not the one to making all the ratings percentages. That's the rating system side. Every rating agency gets to have their input on it and have representatives on that rating system. And you can have your own ratings, but the joint ratings have to be on that door. It has to be on that website. It has to be on that advertisement. So it's hard. It's going to be very hard to fib on this. And if you fib, some people are going to know about it very rapidly. Low integrity is going to be taken care of. The rating system will take care of low integrity. You better be writing what you post on your standards and everything. Human resources and sales, that is a taxing one, and identity one's a taxing one. So that's going to be important to do. Now, there are standards. You have to have high integrity standards on that one. No doubt about it. There's going to be people looking at what you're doing, but only your one that you choose will be regulating you, will be collecting your taxes, will be making sure will giving you those services. Those are highly important services. And if you go too low, things are going to be bad. If you go too high, it's going to cost too much to get those benefits that you're looking to get that really high. But again, things increase as wealth goes up, and you can afford more. So, but you can't. But the integrity thing will be covered. The rating system will make sure those things are covered. Environmental, a lot of people are going to say if there's different environmental standards depending on what environmental regulatory agency you go with, there's going to be a lot of problems. No, not necessarily. The rating system will make sure people know. It has to flow all the way down to that product. From that rating on that store door, to the rating on that product, to that website, to that advertisement, to whatever it is, the ratings will flow with it. There will be very big benefits to be more environmentally safe. But if you go too far up, that's going to increase the cost significantly. So how much people are going to pay for a better environment, but they might not, if it's going to be 1% better environment, but it's going to double the cost, maybe they won't do that. But let's say you go from a 1% cut in cost, but it doubles the environmental damage. Yeah, people don't want that either. They're going to pay that 1% extra, not doubling, but 1%, 2%, 3%, and it will inch up the environmental safety as people get wealthier. Work safety and disability, same thing. Only your regulatory agency will regulate you, but those ratings need to be out there. How well you're doing with Americans with Disability type of regulations, work safety, OSHA type of regulations. Who wants to go into a warehouse or a processing plant or type of factory or whatever, and that work safety is just not up there? And let's say you have a 60, a 55, really, really low. I mean, you can't get below a 50 or people just, they're getting injured too rapidly, too much. And it's just, society as a whole has a value, a moral value of not letting people just get hurt that easily. So most people aren't going to want to take that job at 55, 60. They want to get that 70, 75. If you push 80, 85, 90, well, maybe maybe you only have that 1 or 2% increase in safety, but you have to take half your salary to do that. Well, you don't want to do that. People will take a small hit on their salary to get some better safety, but they're not going to take a 50% pay cut to get that 1% safer. Now, 50% safer for a 1% pay cut? Yeah. So everybody will be looking to do regulations better, and it will inch up as the wealth goes up. And that's the best way to do that. We don't need monopolized government regulations for that. We need a rating system to make sure it's accurately portrayed. Companies don't want their employees to be hurt. Okay. Same thing with transportation, whether it's airports, roads, trains, a lot to go into on that, and it's going to be private sector and competitive governments. Now, obviously, there's going to have to be some certain standards around driving on highways and stuff, speed limits for everybody, standards of yellow means caution, red means stop, green means go, that kind of thing. So there's going to have to be some standards so we're not all over the board. But on the most part, that competitive level is going to be very important to ensure those standards. Land and water, media and communication, 2 more. So anyway, I'm at 24 minutes. I really didn't mean to go that long on this video, but when you are governed only, your competitive government only governs you, you are invested. You are paying for that governing. And if somebody else can do better, they're going to take your money. I mean, they're going to take their money and buy services those governing services elsewhere. So when governing agencies start losing business, they're going to lose representation, they're going to lose money, they're going to lose influence, and they don't want to do that. So they have to be very efficient and productive, and that's what businesses bring out in the free enterprise system. So we bring out that free enterprise benefits to a governing services industry. Anyway, let's go through this real quick. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel at Haley2024 the Movement, or whatever social media platform you're on. Please subscribe. But if you have a YouTube channel or subscription or whatever, please subscribe. It just helps me out, helps me get the word out. The website is the base of everything. It's very well done. It's laid out nicely on the website. Please consider a donation. And until the next video.